I'm going to talk with you briefly about my experience with student peer reviews of writing in an undergraduate science-based course. By way of a little background, a couple of years ago, say 2010 at the University of Maryland, the campus introduced what are called I-series courses. These are introductory courses designed for freshmen, sophomores, that are designed to introduce students to the big issues, the big questions in a field of study. So they're not as detailed as you might expect in a typical 100 or 200 level course. They have broad themes, they attract students from a wide variety of majors, so they have to have a different flavor. And these courses are designed to be innovative, unique in how they approach their content and their instructional pedagogies. So one of the key goals for my course was to introduce students to genetic technologies. My course is called Genetically Modified Humans, Physical Performance in the Post-Genomic Era. So it's a course that introduces basic genetics to people who may be art majors or business majors or engineering majors. Then we talk about different aspects of health and human performance and how genetics might be important, how it might influence health and human performance. And we talk about issues of race and performance and health disparities. And then we get into the real meat of the course, talking about reproductive technologies and how some of the genetic technologies can be mixed and mashed with the reproductive technologies to really impact what I see as the big question for the course, which is, what does it mean to be human? So this is a course that is less about science and more about the ethical issues of big science. And so it allows students from a broad range of backgrounds to really come together and start to understand and grapple with issues that will be relevant both for society but for themselves personally as well. So the themes of the course are broad and challenging, and I don't have the expectation that students will come away expert in stem cells or gene therapy, but instead I want them to grapple with these larger ethical challenges. And so the course is structured in a different sort of way than a typical 200 level course. There are no exams. It's an essay-based course, and I want students to improve their writing through completion of the class. So in thinking through the design of the course and these essays, it came clear to me that one of the key elements that I wanted to include was student peer review of each other's writing. So I've structured the course using the ELMS electronic learning management system at the University of Maryland, now structured with Canvas. And for those of you on the University of Maryland, this is quite simple and straightforward to do. And I'm going to talk you through the basic steps of how I set up peer review for this course. Students end up, for each essay, submitting 2 rounds. An initial draft that is basically complete. That initial draft is then reviewed by 3 different students. Then a final draft that is revised based on the student's feedback is submitted as the final assignment. So in effect, students are learning the process of writing, reviewing, and revision, which are all critical components to writing in any career. The mechanics of this process are all relatively straightforward. An assignment is built, and then the peer review component is added to the assignment. So this allows submission of the initial draft as well as its review, and then a second assignment is built separately for the submission of the final draft. All of the components are time and date stamped. In my course, giving students approximately 60 hours or so for the review phase and another 48 hours or so for the final draft revisions. which means that they have to have a pretty good initial draft to start. And so it's incentive to do the work ahead of time and do a quality initial draft so you can do relatively minor revisions in the final draft. Grading rubrics are provided for all components of the course, and the initial draft is graded by the students themselves, and the instructor comes along and confirms that the grades are consistent. A relatively simple grading scheme of 0, 1, 2 is used for the initial draft. The peer reviews themselves are also graded for quality and completeness, emphasizing both content and grammatical and style edits. Finally, for the final draft essay, students include a paragraph of how they revised and improved their essay based on the reviewer's feedback or their own self-editing. That's the process in a nutshell. In my experience, student writing improves dramatically through the course of the semester, as do the peer reviews themselves. The clear grading rubrics establish expectations, and these are discussed with the students at the beginning of the class. This is an example of some of the grades of the most recent semester, and you can see the number of high score final draft essays is considerably higher toward the end of the semester than at the beginning. And I think a lot of that comes back to the peer review process. Since developing this peer review process for this I-Series course, I've now incorporated it into all of my other courses with similar success. Hopefully this has helped convince you that such a change is feasible and likely to improve student writing success in your course. Good luck.